Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Thiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, going on 20 years this month. We're so excited about that. Donna's Edge Talk Show, you can find us on television, syndicated on Abundant Television. That's found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Don't forget all the podcasts on thenewscasters.com, along other areas. You can find the podcast and also all the social media sites. And I finally got on TikTok. And so I just haven't had time. So anyway, we finally found the time. And Facebook.com, we've been there for a number of years, Facebook.com/D Thiesel. Continue sending emails. I really get encouraged when you do that. You're not bothering me at all. Send emails on any suggestions. You just want to say hi. I'll say hi right back. Donna at donnasedge.com. That's Donna at donnasedge.com. I have a friend who's been with me for 20 years on this show. His name is Rick Staines. We've aged 20 years.
I know. I was just thinking about when you said 20 years. I was like, wow.
Well, you've said, okay, you have gray hair now. I've had, I don't know how many different colors my hair has been throughout those 20 years, but anyway, we've done a little bit of change in there.
Just a little bit. Yeah. I can remember 2005. Yeah. It was a good year for that.
Oh, it was. And you were our photographer, and Kathy McGuirk was with me along. We've had different talk show co-hosts with us throughout the years. And there was a photo you took of Kathy and me. And so we were standing in front of a tree. Yep. And I always loved that photo. And so I went on ahead and posted it on Facebook a couple of weeks ago. Did you see it?
Yes, I did. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and one of my favorite pictures actually was where I was laying on the table with. That's actually one of my favorite. That was
a good one.
Yeah,
I think we were all just like propped up. Like that.
You were. Yeah, I mean, and yeah, it's funny how time flies though, and and we're still friends and still doing this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm still loving it. I mean, you got to do what you like doing. But there's been so many processes through the year, though. I feel like I'm in a much better place than I was several years ago. When COVID hit, that actually elevated my show, because I had been renting space from radio stations and television stations for all these years. And so I have asthma, and the person who owned the station said, I really wish you just do this out of your home, because I'm afraid you're going to have to be on the respirator and all that kind of stuff, and it's going to kill you. And I said, I don't think I can. I have to go somewhere. I'm structured. I'm not so sure I could handle it. And she said, well, you got to. And she said, talk show hosts now.
I mean, you do have to be very structured.
Out of, spare bedrooms and stuff. So we have a studio set up, and I'm loving it. I wish I'd done this a long time ago, Rick.
Yeah. No, I mean, you have to be very structured to work from home. It's one of those things that I find sometimes difficult, because, sometimes I need motivation, and motivation comes from many sources. Most of mine is from my muses, the people that I work with, who fuel my humor and also give me inspiration for doing stuff, because sometimes when you're on your own, I mean, I was talking to someone yesterday going like, I argue with myself because my wife doesn't listen to me. So I've got my alter ego. So I actually argue with myself because I get more sense out of him than I do with her, because that's just as you get married, as you get older and you get married, and your life goes on. I said, this is how conversations go with your other half. Okay. So I'll come and say something like, it'll be something inane, and she'll just look at me like, and why did you want to talk about that? Why did you bring that up right now? Well, because I just wanted to. Well, I don't even know what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah. But on the reverse, when she comes in, eye contact, I listen to every word she says, I reply, I give total 100% to her. I said, and get used to that, because that's how it works. You're going to get nothing, she's going to get everything, and you just walk away going like, okay, so how did you find that? Oh, I'm fine, because you're going to be talking to yourself, because that's what I do all the time.
I'm somehow not believing that, because I just know how the real Rick is.
No. I mean, I'm actually very much more. I'm probably. Well, what do you mean the real Rick? I mean, I can be me, but I'm also very kind.
I can say what you can be, but I can't say that on the air.
Yeah, someone said that about me the other day. Actually, in a meeting to a client, because they
But
couldn't remember.
it's enduring. It's enduring. Okay, it really is. Be you. I mean, be the real Rick.
Well, I like being me, and I'm not going to change because the same things. Like she's always going to be her, and and I know that sometimes people go like, "I want you to be different." I'm like, no, I don't want to be different. I like who I am, and if you make me any different, you're actually not going to like me.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it. Excuse me if I'm scratching. I have poison ivy.
We used to call that the lurgy at school, which is just girl spelled backwards.
Well, I just tell you, Phil can walk into it and play with it, hold it and cuddle it and never get it. I walk by it because I know what it looks like. I walk by it and it just jumps on me for some reason.
Mm-hmm. Well, you must be so lucky. But no, I tell you, I had it once. I got bitten by fire ants and some poison oak.
Oh my goodness!
And from my neck down to my groin for 6 weeks.
Yes, it won't go away.
No, I actually went to the ER, and the doctor went. He goes, "Okay, yeah," and he gave me a triple steroid shot, and literally went home and fell asleep because steroids just knocked me out. And woke up the next morning and it was virtually gone. It was crazy. And I'm like, I could have done this like 4 weeks ago and been happy for the 4 weeks that I had extra. But yeah, it was bad.
You always think, oh, it's going to go away in a couple of days. But it never just goes away.
Yeah. And then all the nights of laying there with calamine lotion.
Yeah.
Say that again.
I know it. It's not fun. I have had it on my face before, so luckily maybe it won't go there, but who knows? But I mean, I'm just this. But you know what? It's still worth living in the country. It's worth it.
Oh, yeah.
I will take poison oak any day.
Well, we've got something over on the field that if you walk in it with bare feet, it just does the same thing. It's like some fireweed or whatever, and we're literally going through a process of killing it all right now because of the grandkids. Because I tell them, when you come outside, wear boots until you get on the trampoline or you get on the play area, which we just like mulched, because there's stuff like ants. Then there's this weed that will just tear your feet up. Plus, there's a bunch of other things like snakes and stuff that you don't really want to deal with.
Yeah, I really don't want to handle that. Can you believe 20 years ago we were not talking about living in the country? I mean, you and I were city folk, and we ran around, we wore business suits all the time. I mean, wow, what a change. Yeah,
big change. For me, massive change, from where I was then to now, and the same for you. I mean, you've moved around too. I mean, I know we both moved away from Oxford at the same time. Mm-hmm. And it's funny, when I went back, people were asking about you, thinking that we'd run away together. It's like... No. So Donna went to Charlotte. I went elsewhere.
I loved Charlotte. I mean, it was really, even though it was like, it's like the biggest city in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. I loved it. It was kind of a mixture of things. I mean, because I wondered, in the South, there's a funeral procession. Everybody pulls over to the side of the road and out of respect. So when we moved there, I was wonder if, people were going to pull, I saw a funeral. Everybody was pulling over. It's in the South, but it's not in the South.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, there's some places that are really good, really nice to live. And there are other places that just, they don't. I mean, living here, yesterday I went to actually watch the Ghost Pirates, the Savannah Ghost Pirates ice hockey team. And it was great fun. It was actually really good. I really enjoyed it. But it's in a part of Savannah which is not good. I mean, because everybody thinks of Savannah as the downtown area with the old squares and the trees, Forest Gump, and but Savannah's a big city, and there's a lot of gun crime in Savannah, and there's a lot of nasty places in Savannah that you don't want to go. And we're kind of on the border of that yesterday. And again, I don't particularly like Savannah. I like Savannah from a historical point. I said I like Savannah when there are no tourists there. It's great, but when it's tourist season, which is like now.
Oh, I love Savannah. So we go through, when we go on trips, we use the website Vrbo, VRBO.com. And instead of a hotel, we like to rent out somebody's house.
Right.
And so, because I don't know, I just don't like hotels anymore. And so we were at this old mansion, and it had been subdivided. There were many different parts to this. But it was kind of private too. So there were like about 6 different units out of this one great big huge old mansion out there. I loved it. I mean, but I love old buildings.
Yeah, I mean, and not saying that you can't find places. I mean, I remember when my mum came over when we got married, that I found a nice little place for them to live, you know, as Airbnb, about, you know, quarter of a mile from the downtown. So you could literally, it was close enough to walk and be comfortable.
You can walk everywhere.
But far enough away to be out of the noise and, you know, the party going. But it was just it was a very, very nice place, and there are some lovely places in Savannah. But I do love like I say, the architecture and the feel. But it's just when it's tourists and you go there, and because whenever I go there, it's always like, oh, we're going to take the car, and I'm the one that has to drive, and I hate driving in Savannah, and I hate trying to park in Savannah.
Oh yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, parking's bad. We've actually found one place now down where the JW Marriott is on the waterfront. Just literally a block up from that is a little pay and display car park. It's never full. I just plonk it in there, and there you can get down to the waterfront, and you can, you know, go in and, you know, down all the shopping streets as well.
Well, I have to tell you this. Phil and I had our appetite ready for Paula Deen's restaurant. I was disappointed.
Okay.
Have you ever been there? It was nothing like I thought it was going to be. I mean, it was okay. I guess I was expecting like a dessert bar.
Breaking up a little bit. So.
Yeah, you're breaking up just a little bit with me too. Okay, you still there?
Mm-hmm. Yep, okay. Still here. Atmospherics, I think.
No, I was a little disappointed in the Paula Deen restaurant. I was expecting desserts with butter all over the place. It just wasn't what I thought.
It's like a lot of places. I mean, I went to, do you remember, like on diners, drives and drive-ins and whatever, he had a place called Darwell's. And I used to live down the road from Darwell's. It's in Mississippi. Mm-hmm. And the guy was, I mean, the guy that owns it is very eclectic, and he saved all of his stuff from Katrina that had got washed away. He'd done artwork. He's in a whole heap of trouble now because he decided to vocally slam some certain groups that he shouldn't have done online, and probably finished his business. Which is kind of sad. I mean, you know, Paula Deen got slammed for, you know, whatever she did. But the trouble is with a lot of these restaurants that, you know, you see, you hear about, you go and you finally get to go to them, and they are a very big disappointment. Because, you know, it's a little bit like going to Vegas and then going to find, you know, that shop where they do all the porn stars. Okay, they're not always there. It's not. Everything there is set up. Anything you watch on TV is set up. If you just have to work your way, I mean, if someone comes into a house and they're already talking, oh, hi, how are you? And they're already mic'd up. They've already set this up. They've probably shot this about 10 times to get the right one to you see. The restaurant's the same. You know, is Gordon Ramsay at every restaurant he owns? No. So, you know, I've been to one of his restaurants and I looked at the prices and I thought, I don't want to eat there.
It's like,
fish and chips costing, you know, $50 a pop in Vegas is like, no, that's stupid. It's a waste of money. Just because it's got Gordon Ramsay's name on it doesn't mean that I'm going to go there and spend my money. I don't care how good the fish is.
I don't care either. And I've often thought about this. Okay, so I love to cook. You love to cook. Mm-hmm. And I thought about, well, what if I opened a restaurant? I don't think it would work because you would have employees. They would not use the same recipe. And I really don't even go by recipe. I go by the way it looks and the way it smells. And right. I mean, it's, you know, so how are you going to train someone to cook exactly like you do when you go by the look and the smell? I mean, you know.
Yeah, everybody's going to have their little take on it, you know. Mm-hmm. I mean, they do. It doesn't matter what you set out, they're going to go, well, I added this because I thought this would be better. And it's like, just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. The whole reason I'm giving you a recipe is because that's the recipe we use. It's like, it's like everything. And that's the trouble is just recently, in fact, I was on a job and I was training somebody to do my job. So they were technically in charge of that job and I was there to help and assist, but also to monitor. And I made a couple of decisions that ended up having us butt heads. And we did butt heads. Because her take on what she was doing was different from mine. And one of the things that she did, she tried to tell somebody not to come down the following day because they weren't needed and they didn't need to clock in. And I'm like, well, you can't do that. And she's like, what do you mean? I do that all the time. I said, well, you're costing us money. You're costing the company money now. That's a billable asset that you told you don't need. She goes, well, there's nothing for them to do. I said, I don't care. They're on the payroll until everybody's gone home. That's just the way it works. And, she couldn't comprehend it. And I'm like, look, I get it. And I apologized. I said, I don't want to relinquish this to you, but I have to. And it's very difficult when you do that. And it's the same when anybody owns a restaurant or does the same. When they relinquish that power, when they relinquish their baby to you and you go along and mess it up, it's really difficult to deal with.
And that's why I love what I do. I mean, the whole workforce has changed it's just dramatically. So it's just Phil and me. So Phil does all the editing and everything that needs to be done to get the show on the air. Wish I'd had him doing this a long time ago. And I do what I do. So I don't want to hire anybody because you would have to train them. Then they wouldn't do it your way. They would do it, whatever way they thought worked. But the way we do it actually works. It's tried and it's proven. And I want to get a little political here too. Okay, so you and I are both Donald Trump fans. Okay, there are people who think the previous 4 years was the best we've ever had. I don't know what planet they were living on.
They've been smoking,
because it was not. Okay, so now that things are turning in the right direction, and I've got to say, it's like speed. I mean, it's going fast, much faster than I thought it was going to happen. Were you going to have some birthing pains with that because you are turning things around? What are your thoughts about tariffs? I've been dying to find out what you think about this. What are your thoughts about this? Are we ruining the country? Are we heading for a depression?
No.
What do you think?
No, I mean, tariffs. So tariffs used to be the way of the world anyway, until World War I, where they decided that they wanted to start income tax.
FDR.
FDR, yeah. So, a lot of people don't realize that America was great way before World War I, industrial might, because of the tariffs. And if you watch the news and you see, so you had Europe, you had Canada, you had Mexico, you had China, all going like, well, we're not going to do this. And you're like, okay, well, here you go. And literally within 24 hours, they go, well, can we do a deal? Can we do a deal? Can we do a deal? Because they know, if they're going to do something to hurt us, it's going to hurt them just as much. In fact, because we don't import as much as we export. They import more than they export. So, so what happens is they look at what they're going to get whacked with and what it's going to cost them. And it's going to cost them way more money and way more damage than it's going to do to us. We can actually live, at this country without importing most stuff. We have that. And you can already see what's happening with the growth that's happening. It's already, we're becoming more dependent on lots of different things within this country, and other people now wanting to put businesses into this manufacturing business, which brings jobs in, which then, helps our economy, builds our economy, which is what we want. We want that strong economy. We want to be that number one. And you're also seeing that shift around the world now, whereas it went away, and basically Trump has messed up the New World Order. In all honesty, he's messed it up.
I'm kind of glad.
Yeah, I am too. He's made people proud to be American. And you're now seeing that kick down the line. You look at Argentina, you look at Italy, where, the Italian president, she's amazing, where, it's all about Italians. Why can't we be all about Americans? There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with some national pride. There's nothing wrong with having a strong America. A strong America means, We have what we need. We've done 4 years, look, even just the military, 4 years of just not strengthening anything. It was all about, we got to diversify, we've got to do this, we've got to do that, we've got to fly this flag, we've got to fly that flag, weakening our military to a point where it was serious. Now he's fixing that, and he's fixing lots of things, and he is doing it at a very fast rate, and he's got some very good people under him in positions that are helping that and go along, which is always good for us.
Let's talk about a few of those things, okay? Talk about military pride. So we have a record number of folks now wanting to join the military, which is great. Why did they not want to join the previous 4 years?
Well, I mean, if you look at the policies that they were doing, I mean, you just now lost two big, high-ranking officers in the military for, not wanting to toe the line, not wanting to be part of this. And the administration now is just like, look, this is how it is. This is how it should be. And if you can't align with that, then you're done. And
that kind of correlates with running a business. That's what you do in the business.
Exactly. And you also, the fact that we were DEI happy for the last 4 years. Everything was.
Wait a minute. You mean a man would not be proud to join the military with men wearing skirts and high heels? The fact that you've got to, you have to rely on the person next to you. And when there's all this, all the stuff that goes on, it's all very convoluted. And I'm making a big deal. I want to do this, and I'm this, and I'm that, and I want to join the military. Well, if the military says you can't join because of that, then you can't join because of that, And tough. If you want to join the military, there's rules and regulations for joining the military. There always have been, So that's not just the United States. That's with every country in the world. They have, these are demands. It's the way it has to be.
Same with every country in the world having the, immigration, policies and how you get into the country. Ireland refusing, Rosie O'Donnell because they can do that. They're allowed to do that.
We got her back. Do we have Rosie O'Donnell back?
And then you've got other countries like Sweden who they cut off the anything that they were giving out to these illegal immigrants, and because they started leaving because they weren't getting any more money. It's a cash grab. That's all it is. It's a cash grab. They're sending all that money back to their countries.
Yeah, but it's also filtering through the hands of politicians in the United States, and that's on the Democrat and the Republican side. Yeah,
it is. And, and that's a very, even if you just look at everything that Doge is just digging up now with the money. There's another $11,000 a month going to Michelle Obama for like a gardener for the White House garden, and she was still getting paid that. So all this, and it may not seem like it's a lot of money, but if someone gave you $11,000 a month, your life would be much better and much easier, and you'd have money. So, if you can give it to this one person who's actually got more money than you'll ever have and not even worry about it, then there's a problem. And the problem is that you have these people worrying and moaning about accountability and transparency with government, because the government just is a spendthrift. They don't care. They just spend money, and when they're not tracking anything like a normal company. If you're running a company and you don't keep good books, you're going to be in trouble. Yet the government can do that, and there's no recourse for that. So
there needs to be a recourse for that. I wanted to ask you another question, and this is because I know this. Okay, so there are women who are drawing Social Security checks, who are making they're getting checks for way under $1,000 a month. But Michelle Obama gets how much a month?
Oh, she was like, it was it was like some stupid amount. Plus she was getting $11,000 on top of that for a gardener.
Okay.
She was making, and that's from 2008.
So,
they were paying that.
So I'm glad they're uncovering all of this garbage. I really am, because this should make anyone mad. If you're a Democrat and you have elderly parents and your mother is making less than $1,000 per month after working her whole life, really, really hard, you should be upset about this. I'm talking about Democrats and Republicans.
No, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. the system as it's been set up. And, the trouble is right now, obviously, they're trying to twist things like with the VA just recently. So, and if you think logically, and if you're, a conservative more than liberal, because they don't think like this, and someone goes, well, there's cuts being made to the VA. Okay. And my first thing is, well, I know what they're doing. They're going to cut all of these bodies that actually are not producing anything. They're not doing anything. They're just a cost. They're not taking anything away from the veterans. They're taking it away because the company is top heavy and paying this all out in wages, which could actually go to the veterans. Mm-hmm. But all over the news, it's like, oh, they're cutting benefits for the veterans. No, they're not. You just have to look at the bigger picture. Okay. Anything that the government do, and the fact that he wants to shrink the government, which is always what conservatives do. They want a nice, small, tight government. They want to stay out of your business, whereas the left always want to be in your business, because anything that you enjoy doing, they want to have either their finger in the pie or they want to tax you for doing it.
Mm-hmm. They want to, they want to destroy the American way of life. Is what that's the entire goal.
Yes, and just so you know, I mean, this year I've decided I'm going to take my citizenship.
Wonderful.
Yep, I'm finally decided. And it was funny because it came to me when I was watching the inauguration. I was like, you know what? Now's the year. This is the year I'm going to do my citizenship. Mm-hmm. So even like last night when we, the national anthem, I mean, friends say, well, you're the most un-American in my life.
Really?
So, yeah,
literally.
Because I'm the one that is, I know all the words. I mean, the civics, and I'm doing the tests. I do it every day. I set up a test or tests, and they're just practice tests for the to do the citizenship. So it's 10 questions, and you're only going to get 10 questions when you do the actual test anyway. Out of 100 questions, it could be a random 10, and they're all multiple choice. Mm-hmm. So it's not hard. Even my wife says, you know more than we do. And that's because, I'll
just have to tell you, my daughter-in-law, who is from Russia, knows more American history than most people do. I'm going to say she probably knows more than 99% of the American citizens who are alive right now.
Yeah. And I mean, I have discussions at work, when they always bring up, obviously, the War of Independence. And then, then there's the War of 1912, where, America decided that they wanted basically Montreal. They wanted the area, and the Canadians, the French Canadians at the time, asked the British to help, and we did. And we defeated the Americans and pushed them back. That's why there's that little enclave of French-speaking people, because they kept it. We defended it, even though France technically was our enemy. We helped them beat the Americans. Mm-hmm. And so people go, oh, really? I'm like, yeah, do you not learn this stuff? This is part of obviously.
No, because they're teaching children, if you don't know what sex you are, then you can, if you're a girl, you can become a boy if you want to. We'll mutilate you and pay for it. And ruin your life forever. Let's go ahead and go to a commercial break. We're just a little bit behind, and we'll be right back in just a few minutes. Queen City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonesmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer
yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. Good afternoon. We are back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you again so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 2 p.m., and that's on the Eastern Time Zone as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. Rick Staines is with me, and he's been with me for 20 years. We're just old geezers now, Rick.
Say, let me go. Like I was locked in your basement.
I've kicked you out. You've come swimming back. Then you leave, and then we work it out. No, it's been nothing bad. It's just been we've had careers that have went different ways, and just throughout the years. But anyway.
I know, yeah, it's funny how that works because for many years I didn't have anything. It was 2015 that changed my life. I was talking to someone about it the other day because we were talking positivity and stuff like that. I said, well, sometimes when something's presented to you, you have to be positive about it and just sometimes go, you know what, I'm going to go for it. Mm-hmm. And you go for it. And by doing that, it's put me where I am now where, and it's funny when you think, I'm thinking last night, I'm with 220, one's 21, 22, the other one's 28. And they're looking at me as a father figure. I feel like I'm 18. But at the same time, I'm also the one where we pull up and he's like, well, if we need any cash, I'm like, I've got cash. They're going, like, you got cash? I'm like, yeah, I've got cash. I've got debit card. I've got credit cards because I plan ahead. I used to be a bodyguard. Come on, think about it. And these guys just like, oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. They've only got like their little cards or something, or they haven't got anything, or they're worried about they haven't got enough gas for next week. And I'm like, it used to be like that. I don't have that fear anymore, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. It is, but it takes a lot of planning and perseverance. I mean, until you made it happen.
It's working hard, playing hard as well. I mean, we do work and play hard where I work, but it's just nice now. I mean, and having the trust of the company. I mean, they put me back into marketing, so I'm doing a lot more marketing now. I've technically changed I've just got a new boss. Not that she's new to me. I mean, I've worked with her for years, but she's now my boss. And so technically I have whereas before I was working at corporate, I came under a different thing. Now I actually under the corporate thing, apparently. And I'm like, okay, what does that mean? They're like, well, when you travel, and I'm like, yeah, they said you get paid for that. I'm like, amazing.
As well as it should be. I know GTE was that way. Yeah, that was with GTE for several years before we began the talk show. And so it started out as Contel, and who was bought out by Cellular One. Then they were bought out by, I was through like 4 buyouts with that company. And every single time there was a buyout, things changed within the organization, but I kind of had to change with it.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, is being flexible. You know, I just got called the other week, and they're like, look, we've got a new sales team, and you know what we do, and we like what you do for us. Because I produce stuff and just say, hey, look, I just produced it. And they're like, wow, okay, great. They said, well, can you do some more of that? I said, sure. You know, even so we're doing a department appreciation. We do a department appreciation every year. We've done it for the last 4 years. Where we go and have a day where we listen to the other departments tell us what they do, just so that, you know, everybody gets an idea of how we all meld together. So last year they decided that this year the goal for every team was to produce either a music video or a commercial about their department. It was like, it's in my wheelhouse. So I was asked the other week if I'm going to be going up in May for a week to help the other teams produce their videos, because otherwise it's an unfair advantage for ops, because they have me and they have Jenna, and Jenna's husband actually is a videographer and film producer by trade. That's what he does for his living. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's fine.
That's what I've been telling people for years. I mean, you find whatever your niche is, you love doing this. I mean, you've been being on the show for 20 years. So, and that's your niche. So you're able to incorporate that with where you are now. And a lot of people are afraid to do that. They'll say, no, they hired me to be a bean counter. That's all I'm ever going to be. Well, why not show them that you can do other things?
Open your mind and learn, you know. So I was given a list of things, because there's things that obviously people do on our jobs that, when we tell people go like this, they go like, there's no way that happened. I'm like, yeah, it does. So we're given this list of things. So I took that list and I put it into AI and just said, hey, write me a funny song with these items. And it did. And it's got the song's called Don't Do This at Work, the Huffmaster song. And I played it to my old boss. He goes, oh man, he said, that's so good. I changed a couple of the words because some of the things that AI had put in there didn't fit with what we do, whereas what I put in there did. And so I've got 2 versions. I've got a country and western version, which is really, really good. And then I've got a rap version. And I said, if we can get together and make a music video where you can actually learn your segment and lip sync it, and I can then put it all together, we'll kill this.
That's going to be fun. I want to see that.
I'll show you when it's all done. I'll show you. Yeah.
Well, using your imagination, I mean, companies love that. I mean, I did any company feeling I ever owned. It was like if somebody would just show some initiative, I would listen.
Yeah. I did a video the other day. It was like a couple of months ago. It was actually last year, end of last year. I did a video, and it was for EP, for the executive protection. And it was like, so I had a slideshow, but it was, I used a company, they have the template. So I threw in everything and did the wording. And then I had 2 pieces of music that I really liked. And I sent it to the president of the company. I said, which one do you prefer? And he goes, first of all, man, the video is amazing. And I really like the darker music, because it's like this very kind of like very dark music going behind it, because it just goes with the whole feel of it. So my new boss was down in Miami for a conference a few weeks ago, and she said, can you send them to me? So I sent her that one. I sent another one, because we did one for healthcare and one and she was like, wow, they are really good. They look really good, because we're talking about taking it up a level. I always talked about, we need to go up a level. So the production level is way higher. The message is there. And she said, even people come back like, they're really good videos, which for me is like, hey, this is cracking the nut. You know, so I just said to them, I said, all the future videos that I do, I said, that's the template I'm going to use. Just different music, different pictures, different wording, because it keeps it consistent because I'm also now helping manage and build the website as we want it, because that's another thing that sometimes gets overlooked. And when we looked at our website, it's like, yeah, there's lots of things that we need to fix on that. So again, I mean, it's like 100% more work I have to do, but hey, I'm employed.
Sometimes I think companies and employees hand off things to other companies they shouldn't do. And this is what I'm trying to say. Okay, you know more about your company than some guy who lives in California you hire to do your website. They're not going to have your insight. You know what I mean? You got the insight. Yeah. And I've looked through websites thinking, this doesn't seem anything like this company at all.
Well, you think that, I mean, one of our things is we have a hotline, okay? The hotline is for everybody to use, whether they're going, like wanting a job. That hotline number should be on the very front page of our website. End of story. And it's not. It's like, so you ask the question, okay, so why is it not where it is the most prominent and the easiest to get to? I hate it when I get to a website and I have to literally climb through hoops to get to the very thing I want. Normally, especially if it's to cancel my contract, they bury that where it should be. Like I guarantee if you made it on the front page, cancel my contract, you'd probably get a lot of people less canceling the contract because they can find
it. Ticks you off to have to go try to find it.
Exactly, and so I'm making all the decisions, but my job is now to monitor the timeline to see where we're at so that we can hit the targets we want to hit and clean up what we want to clean up, because there's a lot of generic stuff that's used. And, I said to him, well, the generic stuff is there because we don't have any of our own stuff. So again, I've just put myself in, hey, I've got a camera, send me out to job sites and I'll take pictures. That's what I mean. I'm traveling, I'm taking pictures, I'm doing something else I love. It's all a win-win. It's a win-win for them. It's a win-win for me. So we'll see.
Well, I mean, you've got the insight. I mean, it's just common sense. I hire somebody who is, from, say, Japan, whatever, handling my website. First of all, the cultures are not the same.
Right.
Okay. My customers are not going to be like someone's customers in Japan. I mean, they just won't be the same. And I like the small town feel of things on a larger scale. Does that make sense?
No, I get where you're going from.
Because each company is different.
Yeah.
No one has a talk show like mine. No one on earth does. I don't consider anyone my competition. I just don't.
Well, you also, because we've just opened up, we're opening up a new subsidiary, which is going to be like a home health, where we're going to provide people that will provide healthcare in the home, across varying different, things. And also we've opened up the racing team because we actually have a racing team as well. So we have Huffmaster Motorsports. And so we've just opened up, because before we've had social media, but we've never had anyone managing the social media. Now we have this company managing social media. The first 2 posts they did, I viewed them and I was like, wow. I mean, they just knocked it out of the park. Great pictures, great wording, look good, look snappy, look sharp. Again, raising the bar. And that's where we need to be, raising the bar. We have animated videos that I did probably 4 years ago now. In fact, it is 4 years because we still had one up that was for COVID. And I said, well, it just needs to come down. That's not relevant
anymore. Old news.
It's old news. It's irrelevant. And it just shows you how bad we look out there. If you look at the big picture and go like, we're looking bad now because we've not made that correction. We also need to make corrections when we have people's names on there that no longer work for us. They need to come off, because you can't be contacting that guy because he doesn't work for us anymore. So all of those little things that we're trying to do, but it's just also raising the bar so that when someone sees what we do, that there's a level of proficiency and professionalism there. And just the look of it goes like, wow. I was watching a video last night at the game and it was their intro to the Ghost Pirates, and it was great. It was just really, really well done, because obviously the Ghost Pirates, it all plays on the whole thing about Savannah being, one of the most haunted cities in the US, and that on the shit, on the waterfront, so pirates, and they did a really good video, and even with the guys, they were like, that was really good. I'm like, that is the level you want to be at. I mean, because just cinematically, it was awesome. Mm-hmm. And you knew what it was about, and it was very clear with its message. I said, all these little things that we take for granted. And I'm not trained in any way. Everything I've learned myself.
It's common sense, though, and that's the best. I mean, you learn from experience. I want to ask you another question, because in the earlier segment, we were talking about the industrial age. And everybody talks about the industrial age, how wonderful it was. But now, prior to the industrial age, people had cottage businesses. Mm-hmm. And in those cottage businesses, I'm just going to tell you, customer service was number one. Mm-hmm. And it would spread throughout the village if you did something stupid. If you tried to cheat somebody, you hear about, the baker who would, or the guy who sold meat would put his thumb on the scale. Well, then you would lose your business throughout the community. People would say, oh yeah, he sold meat. He put his thumb on the scale and made that meat way more than it actually was.
Yeah.
Do we need to go back to that life again? Do you feel like the industrial age was all that in a bag of chips, really?
Well, no, I think the industrial age is still important. I think that there is industry that, because not everybody's going to be able to work from home or do a cottage industry per se. There are people that are making money from like being, obviously on social media and just influencers. But again, do I see that getting any bigger? Yeah, there's a possibility. But at the same time, I think that people are looking for, they're looking for value, definitely. If they can go somewhere, even if it's a small industry, whether it be from home or even just a small building, and order stuff that they know is of a good quality, then I think that, yes, that old way of doing the small business from home is definitely a work. And also, you look at now, I mean, just one thing we haven't touched on is the whole China coming out and saying everything that you buy that's like, name brands is fake. We make it. We send it to them. They put their brand on it. And then there was a Birkin bag. It was $38,000. To buy it is $38,000. The cost in reality is $1,350. And all they do is once they've done the leather's real good quality leather, all the threading and everything, all the liner, they send it to Birkin. Birkin put their logo on it, and the price jumps up to $38,000.
See, that's my point. Okay, it's like Louis Vuitton handbags. Okay, yep. You can detect a fake like really easy, because Louis Vuitton back in the day, it's not like it used to be now. I would rather have a vintage Louis Vuitton handbag than a new one. I just would. The workmanship was better then, and the patterns you could see it was an authentic Louis Vuitton handbag. The way that made the pattern match, it did. You can actually go to a store in New York who specializes in Louis Vuitton handbags and look at a new one. It's not like the old ones. No, so I might as well buy a fake one.
Because at the end of the day, they are all made in the same place. It's just where they're put to go into the market that derives the price. If you look at I look at watches, and I love watches. In fact, this little watch here that I have on, this is from 1960. It's a manual wind. It's a Gruen. It's actually the first Bond watch.
They're the best ones.
First Bond watch, because you don't see this. It was under Sean Connery's tux, because you wouldn't necessarily wear the diver's watch under a tux. You would wear this. This is a Gruen Precision. Not this exact model, but it was a Gruen. And I love old watches. 1960, I've got one from 1954 that keeps perfect time. It's just, but it's small. They're small watches because they're made for, gentlemen at the time. And as time's gone on, they got bigger. But going back to everything else, I like watches. Now, if you see the adverts all over the internet, you can buy basically fake Rolexes, fake Omegas and everything else. Mm-hmm. If they have access to all of that, and they look exactly the same, they feel exactly the same. Sometimes it's just the movement that's different. And if that can do that, then why are you paying $15,000 for a Rolex when you can buy it for, less. I mean, up to something costs $1,000, and it's a fake. But is it a fake? Is it a fake? Is it not the same as what Rolex are selling you? It's just because it's coming through Rolex. If they're all made in the same place, because now
that's my point, because they're just not putting their stamp of approval. Yeah, that's mine. I'm putting my label on it.
Right. Or they're giving it a number. They give it a serial number. But if you go to the right place, and I know this, you can get the box, you can get the papers, you can get all of that given to you, even the bag that it would come in with the box and the papers, that will give it some legitimacy as being like, this is the real thing, because it kind of backs up what they're saying right now. Well, we make it, we just send it to them, and they put their little bit on it, and then they go like, oh yeah, it's going to cost you $15,000 for that watch now.
Well, it's kind of like some of the name brand clothings who are actually having their clothing made in Africa somewhere with a village, and these people being paid absolutely nothing for it.
Yep.
But they want to talk about, we want to take care of people. Well, these people are working for like nothing.
Yeah, no, it's just a load of junk. It's like in cars. Anybody that goes, well, I'm going to go buy this, like say for instance, a Lamborghini, and the backlight breaks on that. So the backlight on a Lamborghini, just the lens on that's going to cost you $300 odd, whatever. Okay. The same lens without Lamborghini on it goes on some Ford, and you can get it for like $20. Because the car industry is rife with that, because they literally do cannibalize vehicles. My 300, my 2005, 2006 300 is basically a Mercedes, because everything inside that car, dials, dashes, is from Mercedes. And so
it's all sales. It's getting us to spend money. And I'm going to use this for an example. Okay, so we got a really good price on this house. Okay, it was built in the 1960s, and it was built very well. As a matter of fact, everybody in Abbeville says, that house right there that you're living in, you got a steal for that. And they're talking about how it's basically a landmark. It's a tri-level house.
Okay.
And it's just the way it's built. It's almost Frank Lloyd Wright. I mean, it's almost, it's that, and it is built very well. I mean, I would not have a new house compared to this one. No way. Mm-hmm. Basically, all we're doing is giving it a facelift. We're painting rooms. We're just doing things like that. That's all we're doing. We don't have to tear down walls because it's open. All the rooms are very big, very open, what have you. It's almost 3,000 square feet. But it's the way it was built. And it takes you've got the big windows, takes advantage of all of the beautiful. In fact, my studio right now, it's a huge room. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 windows, and they're all big. And I'm looking at the great outdoors. I mean, I'm seeing all this visual. It's just absolutely breathtaking. However, there's one thing I'm not changing because I like it. Okay, so you watch all the HGTV shows. They say popcorn ceiling, textured ceilings. I love the ceilings here. I'm not going to, just because someone on that HGTV tells me that's not in style anymore.
Yeah, again, that's just a personal choice by that person, and people just. And you're right. If you don't have to change anything, houses built back then. Mine was built in the 70s, and I know it's not going anywhere. Anybody they'll go like, "Oh, we're going to come to you." Now I'm on solid concrete, so I don't have. Before I had like solid concrete, but I didn't have solid concrete. I had it was a crawl space, but there was a basement under the house that was for storms. And that was built, but it was just been left to go rack and ruin, because that whole back wall was literally being in by termites because it was wood. This one's brick, and there's a big difference with building with brick and building with wood frames, and being on a concrete base, otherwise to have a crawl space, because obviously I can protect the house easier on a concrete base than I can on a crawl space. So with your house being built in the 60s, completely different build, completely different way, and there was a pride in the work as well, and not just built because they were making, like, they had targets to reach in 300 and stuff like that, to make good houses. A little bit like the cars, They were
It is. I would rather have a 20-year-old BMW than a new one. I know that sounds odd. I love the workmanship of it. They ran better, and they still do if you just keep them up.
I love my car. I mean, and you know, we were driving to Savannah last night, and Jeremiah goes, "This thing's so quiet, so smooth." I said, "Yeah." I said, he goes the pickup on it. I said, "It's not turbocharged. It's not fuel. I mean, it's probably fuel injected, but it's a Hemi." I said, "So it goes. It wants to go. But if you don't want to drive it like an idiot, you can drive it, and it's like driving your living room." Because of the big leather chairs. And I said, it's nice. I said, I get into my living room and I drive everywhere in my living room. I used to love my BMW, but to be honest with you, I don't miss it.
Oh, I loved mine. I love the older version of it. You remember I had one black. As a matter of fact, when that one finally, the practically the door started coming off of it, Phil said, it's time to get another one. And I said, but I don't want a new one. I want another one. It needs to be, you know, I like that era of it. It's just like the popcorn ceiling. Well, this is not popcorn. They use something to, I don't know, like almost little florets or something on the ceiling. I happen to like it. I don't need anybody on HGTV telling me that it's out of style.
But they don't live there. You live there. That's the most important thing. You live there, and as long as you're happy, it doesn't really matter.
I mean, why don't I want to go to the expense and the headache of removing it so I can have a smooth ceiling? Because guess what? In another 20 years, people will be going, why is this just a smooth ceiling? You know?
What were they thinking? Well, they'd be going back to popcorn.
Oh, God. I have an aunt who very wealthy. And so she loved purple, okay? I mean, she loved purple. So she has granite purple countertops in the kitchen.
Nice.
Which is hideous. Okay, so my grandmother, it was her sister, my grandmother's sister. So my grandmother said, why are you doing that? Because my grandmother always believed in going with, you go with either white or beige or gray, you know, because you can accessorize, put cushions or, you know, much easier than spending $5,000 for granite countertops. And then just because you don't like the color anymore, you're removing it. I have another friend who has red granite countertops. It's hideous. It was like she was going through the Coca-Cola stage, you know, the Coca-Cola kitchen people were doing. See, I don't follow trends. I follow what I like. And some things are just easier to redo. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, you know, I mean, I'm a man as well. So we obviously think differently from women. I mean, I was asked the other week, did I like this shade of yellow in a already yellow bathroom? I'm like, well, what's different between the shade you're showing me and that shade? Well, I said, it's yellow. She goes, well, what would you do? I said, I'm a guy. I'm a geezer. I just leave it as it is. I'm not going to put another yellow over this yellow because it's slightly different and it gives a different feel. It's yellow. And she's like, well, you don't get it. You don't get the fine. I mean, I know I don't, but I'm a guy. So we don't think the same.
Well, apparently I'm a guy because I like your color. And I'm looking at the easy way because I don't have time to paint every year. Okay. So I like having I'm using a very, very light gray all through the whole house. It's easier to change cushions and change colors in your cushions.
So you can accessorize on all the stuff, your furniture will bring in the color. And I get that. I mean, that's kind of how I would be like, you know, the constant change of like, well, I want to paint the kitchen again. Why? You've just literally finished painting the kitchen. You wanted it nice and bright, and now you want to paint it another color. It doesn't, and then you want to change everything, which is again, to me, just stupid. You've got things that work. You got things that you liked. You got things that you asked for, and now you want to change them all because it's not the in color. Outside this house, who cares?
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel about it. Rick, we got to call it today. An hour flies by. It always has for the past 20 years and counting. Thank you again so much for being with me, Rick. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you guys so much for watching. You make my day. Continue sending emails, Donna@donnasedge.com. You're not bothering me at all. I love reading every single one of them. Again, thank you so much. See you later. Bye-bye.